This should be fairly quick because I don't feel like I have a lot to say. I've been wrong about that before. But, hang on, my fucking phone. Did I ever mention I hate my phone? It's such bullshit. Yeah, some fucker from Africa. Yeah, right. I'm gonna fall for that bullshit. Anyway, so I knew this guy in League in Seattle a billion years ago. He had lost his arm from like here down. For whatever reason, he didn't have a prosthetic, easy for me to say, or a hook hand or anything. He just had the stump, basically, is what he had. This guy was in the APA League, and he was a good player. He was a fairly strong 6. He wasn't pro level or anything. He was a fairly strong 6. What was interesting, I thought, the first time I'd ever seen it, was instead of most people that I think would lose that part of their arm, he wasn't shooting like this. Some variation of something like this. He was shooting, I don't know if I can do it. He was shooting like that. Does that make sense? So he was holding the cue and the crook of his elbow, which he still had his entire elbow, and shooting with all of this motion. The moral of the story, the point of that story, was that if this guy, what was his name? I think it was Tim. If Tim could be a good player, he could break and run. Doing that, then all these people that are making videos talking about you must have a bridge that's 6 and 3 and 6.375 inches long or you suck. No. The people that say you must find the exact balance point of your cue and come back 18.4 inches, well, that's more like 8, or you suck. This is them. This is them. This is the people making the videos. They're like, hey, that's what my bridge is. That must be the perfect bridge. Might be the perfect bridge for them, but not for anybody else. So this is one of the reasons that I never tell people what to do. I never tell people what they should do. And about the most I'll go is like, hey, this is what I do. Maybe you might have something similar, or maybe you want to look into it, or anything like that. That's what I'm going to do right here. I do not have the best bridge in the world as far as like a closed bridge. It's not like, I think a lot of people have a tighter closed bridge than me. I've always preferred having my cue be able to move without ripping any skin off of my fingers. And so for that reason, it's fairly loose. I'm trying to move it around. I can't really move it around that much, but there is skin there and fat and muscle and sinew and all that. There's always a little bit of give for me with a closed bridge. Not a lot, but there's always a little bit. One of the things that I learned to do a long time ago was make sure that my cue is resting on my bridge, not being held by my bridge. And I'm not 100% sure that makes sense, so I think I'm going to have to come up here. I'll try to explain it. Instead of me just holding this bridge, pretend that this finger's not here. And now that the cue is just being held down there by gravity. A lot of times when I hold the bridge, when I hold the cue, I end up, it gets suspended a little bit. It's in the middle of all this mess. It needs to be on the bottom. So one of the things that I do, especially when I have some type of an awkward bridge, my favorite shot when I'm close to the rail jacked up, is I'm letting my cue find its lowest point. I'm letting it fall within this. I'm letting it fall just to make sure that there's that consistency. Because like I said, I do have a loose bridge. Hey, I made a freaking shot with the cue ball coaster reel and jacked up. That's amazing. I'm glad I got that on camera. Anyway, so I guess if you feel like messing with bridges, mess with that. Maybe see if that does you any good. If you feel like maybe you're just a little bit inconsistent, yeah, maybe mess with that. Or find somebody that's got videos out there or books or whatever that are really good at bridge work. I'd always heard Jim Rempe was like the king of bridges. I'm not sure if he has any videos out. None that I have anyway. And Earl Strickland is certainly very strong on that, having a good solid bridge. I think you want it to be solid. Just like everybody says, you don't want to be up here unless you have to be, unless you're bridging over a ball or something. You want the heel of your hand and all that bullshit. But remember that Tim guy giving it this. So I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. I'm just telling you what I do. The other thing that I want to talk about is, well, I have not counted, do I use an open bridge or a closed bridge? And more often, you know, one more than the other. I honestly don't know. I think it changes. I do have a lot of different physical elements and things that I like messing with and changing and stuff. But one of the things that I absolutely found is if I'm going to use an open bridge, it's not off my thumb, like this. It's not in there. The reason it's not in there is because, again, fat and muscle and sinew and all that, there's give in this. So what I end up doing is bending my thumb and just putting the cue right here. So I don't know how well any of y'all can see with this camera. So instead of like this in here, where there's some give, it's like this. And there's not nearly as much. The skin is a lot thinner, and there's knuckles there. So that's another thing I do to try to give myself a little bit better bridge. And when I'm doing an open bridge, is off my knuckles, not off one knuckle and then my thumb, but off my knuckles. And I've been doing that for so long that I can't imagine doing it the other way. If I line up a shot doing it the other way, it feels so freaking flimsy. It feels like an air bridge or something. It feels so freaking flimsy doing it like that. I can't even imagine doing it. That's another thing about bridges. I never said this is going to be an exciting video, but I want to put one out. I haven't put one out in a few days. And this is a video, even though it's not going to be an exciting one. The other thing is, let's say I'll get lined up on this 13 with my closed bridge, and then I decide for whatever reason I want to use an open bridge instead. The thing is, when I do that, go from a closed bridge to an open bridge, if I don't move the heel of my hand or anything like that, my cue shifts to the left just a little bit. But pool can be a game of millimeters. So I can be lined up perfectly on this shot right here and switching to an open bridge without moving anything else. Now all of a sudden I'm not lined up anymore. Something I have to watch. Because I do switch a lot. I really don't know why. I mean, I switch a lot. Once I get bent over, then I'll decide, oh, maybe I should use open bridge or closed bridge or whatever. I do that kind of thing. I guess one legitimate example maybe is a lot of the books and you know, experts and all that will say, if you're going to shoot hard, you need a closed bridge or you suck. I'm not going to go that far and say that. But there have been times when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to shoot a stop shot on this 13. So I can do an open bridge off my knuckles like that. But then I'm down there and I change my mind. Oh, I'm going to draw the shit out of this because pretty girl's over there watching and she'll be impressed. So I want to switch to a closed bridge because that's what you're supposed to do if you're going to shoot hard. So I get down there with an open bridge, switch to a closed bridge. My cue just moved that way, just a little bit, but it moved that way. And that means I have to move this hand a little bit to get back on the proper shot line. Did you get that on camera? I hope you did. Did I ever mention that I hate pool? I'm going to try that one more time. So open bridge, okay, closed bridge, no, I gotta move everything. Okay, that's a little bit better. Not a good, really good enough draw to impress the pretty girl that much, but I think you get my point. Point is, be aware of what the hell you're doing, you know, and I think having a more solid bridge, one down as low as it can go, not one that you're kind of holding in the middle of all this stuff, one that's sitting down as low as it can go, and then just being secured by the finger. I think these things are better. If you can get away with them, if you have the proper appendages and all that to get away with them, I think they're better, but everybody can do what they want. So that's about bridges, the bridge hand. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the grip hand. And I might even have to make that another video because I don't have my thoughts really clear on that, but the thing is with me, okay, so I'm 5'8", not particularly tall, and I would typically have my hand about right here, one hand width back from the start of the wrap when I'm getting bent over. Then, once I'm over and on the ball, I will find a balance point at that point. And you can see me moving my right hand back and forth, whoops, and not fouling, until it feels like I've got a good balance. In that case, for a normal shot, my right hand ended up really not moving. If I have a shot where I'm stretched out, I'm going to have a longer bridge. Because I'm stretched out, I can't reach that down far. So I can come down on this shot, find this balance point. Now, I don't know if you can see, my right hand is going back and forth. Now I'm here. This distance is proportional to this distance. It's the same because that's me. That's my height, and that's the style that I shoot. Other people are going to be different. Alex is shorter than I am. Has a really long bridge and his hand way the hell back here. To me, it feels too stretched out for normal shooting, but that's the way that he shoots. Grady Matthews was like 6 inches taller than me, and I can't even do it with the cue ball there. But he always had a pretty short bridge, and his hand way the hell up here at the front of the wrap, and he was just like this, just bearing down, and by God, staring at the hole in the ball and all that. Everybody's different. I remember back in, I guess I don't remember that much. I don't remember exactly what year. It was like 1988 or 9 or something. I was playing at the APA Regionals in Olathe, Kansas, and I actually had to play the guy, I believe the guy that had won the whole APA singles thing the year before. So that was awesome. Now, spoiler alert, he did defeat me. But I remember during that match, every time I'd go to shoot, well, I was just going to town. Just going to town on this. Back then, though, it wasn't because I was trying to find some kind of a balance point that was consistent with my bridge length. Back then, it was just adrenaline. I had adrenaline like crazy. I spent a lot of time just standing around just doing this, waiting to shoot. This is probably a little bit distracting, but I really wasn't doing it to shark anybody. That was just the way it was. This was only slightly better than when I would just do this and just jump around. I had so much adrenaline back then that I'm just going to town on my damn cue, and then finally I would go and I would shoot the ball and sometimes make it. That was a good shot. Y'all didn't know I knew that shot, did you? So, did I have a point to that? I don't know if I had a point to that. I guess, my point to that, to the grip hand, is the same as it was for here. If somebody says, you must have a 6 3/8 bridge or you suck, then maybe they suck. And if they say, you must grip in the middle of the wrap because there's a wrap there for a reason. If they say that, or you suck, then maybe they suck. The people that grip way back here are generally the taller people. It doesn't have to be that way, though. Francisco grips pretty far back, has this long, flowing thing. Everybody's different. crap, Rafael Martinez. I don't even know if he plays anymore. I hope he's okay. But he's shorter than I am. But he has a bridge that's like 85 feet long, maybe something like that, and just just one of the most accurate people you ever saw in your life by doing that. Now, if I want to be accurate, for the most part, I'm looking at about a 6-inch bridge. This feels a little bit unnatural to me, and I think that's how I know it's right. If it feels short, then that's how I know it's right, because it makes me bend forward a little bit more as well. And this is all just me, and this changes as I change styles, which I do not quite as often as I change my socks, but I do change styles quite a bit because it's fun for me. And the other thing is, I don't remember if I mentioned this thing, but I'll get into like a little miniature slump, and gotta change something, and I'll shorten my bridge. And almost invariably, I'll start shooting really, really well. My slump is over. And then the next day, that short bridge doesn't work anymore. So I have to do something else. I have to do that dippy stroke I've talked about before. And then my slump is over. When I make those little changes, it helps me. It never lasts, but it helps me. It helps me to keep having fun and all that. I don't know what the hell those guys are doing. They got fixed the other day. So of course I'm paranoid they're going to rip their stitches out and all that. Probably rip each other's stitches out, fighting with each other. I guess that's it. I didn't say that it's going to be an exciting video. So sorry if you thought it was going to be.